Bom dia a todos. I'm going to change to English. Welcome to workshop on game theory in honor of Marilda Sotomayor. This workshop is a satire event of the International Workshop on Game Theory and Economic Applications of the Game Theory Society that just finished this week there in São Paulo, na Universidade de São Paulo, with the presence of many distinguished researchers. And following the tradition of our school, Graduate School of Economics, in hosting meetings in economic theory, today we have a privilege of having a subgroup of these people here present their work. Thank you for their presence here. I'd like then to thank also our sponsor, Fundação Getúlio Vargas, and EPEGE, Instituto de Pesquisa Econômica Aplicada, and Economics and Politics Research Group to make this event possible. Just a briefing note, Professor Marilda, she is expected to be here around noon with Professor John Nash. They are coming from São Paulo because they stayed there too late yesterday, so they are able to be here just middle of the day. So now I'm going to pass the word to Professor Luiz Araújo, our Vice Director of our school, to say a few words, and then the President of EPEGE.
Thank you very much. And then it's very nice to see that how we've been able to, under diversity, to develop theory. This is a proof of that. In Brazil, in particular FGV. Let's tell a little bit of the story of theory in Brazil, and in particular in FGV, Fundação Getúlio Vargas. The person that you're going to meet here later on, the current president, is Carlos Ivan Simonsen Leal. He has a PhD in game theory, just to give you an idea. But I go back and then think about his uncle, that was Mário Henrique Simonsen. And then we thank him a lot because he was a partial student in IMPA. There was being a strong relationship between Getúlio Vargas and IMPA. And he was a student in IMPA, and then he understood the importance of mathematics to economics, and then he dropped his academic career, although he was extremely bright. And then he was teaching here in Getúlio Vargas. He was the director of the position that Rubens Cisne has now. There's a lot of responsibility on us that following his tradition. He was the Minister of Finance, but he never left theory. He always, after being minister many years, he wrote a very good book, Macro, but the mathematics was done much more carefully than all the international books, I must tell you. There is an international macroeconomics that you know, he did it better, more precision, projection in Hilbert space, and so forth. So it's a very, and he was the person I owe him a lot because he was the person that invited me to teach Getúlio Vargas. Besides him, I came first to him, but that helped me a lot in my career. And then he always gave support to the development of theory, so and economics as a whole. And but sorry about I hope you can hear it now. So better. But so this we had some tradition. We cannot do in larger scale because you can imagine Brazil is always competing for resource. So whenever you form, like in Simmons himself, there are many others that came later that end up doing very important practical things because there are few of us. But a small group remain, and this is a proof that to make this special event for Marilda, that I had the honor to be part of her thesis committee, discussing in the beginning of her research, not in matching, but dynamic economics, that was she originally interested. And I hope I want to welcome you too, and then to thank people that come from very distant, and not only went to São Paulo, but even come to Rio, so, and to Getúlio Vargas. Welcome, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you, Aloysio. Now, President of EPEA, Sergei Soares.
Well, good morning. First of all, I'd like to thank Fundação Getúlio Vargas for hosting this important workshop. I think it's a part of their immense, almost unmeasurable contribution to our country and to the development of economics and the development of our country. I'd also like to welcome all of you here. It's a true pleasure to be here welcoming you. I think that this workshop is part of another series of events that has come before, and I think it will be very useful and very helpful for everybody here. I'd like to congratulate the workshop and the organizers of the workshop in choosing Marilda as the special person in honor of whom this workshop is being made. I mean, her leadership in the academic world is immense. I think nobody will disagree with that. Actually, her leadership is so great that we had 4 Nobel Prize winners in the Congress on Game Theory that just ended at USP, John Nash, Robert Altman, Eric Mansky, and Alvin Roth. And I think that she is as there's some people who in the development of a field, you almost come to identify that field with that person, and certainly Marilda is one of these people. I would also like to thank all of our distinguished visiting international scholars here. And it's important to say that none of them received a cent to be here. And I think it's very kind of you, and I'm very honored to be here with all of you. Before finishing, I'd just like to say something from my side as president of EPEA about the importance of linking theory, applied research, and more theoretical research. It's not my area, but as far as I know, there's 3 areas in which game theory has had a lot of applied use, which would be matching, voting rules, and auctions. Here at Getúlio Vargas, there are excellent researchers such as Aloysio Araújo and Paulo Klinger, who have worked on the more theoretical side of this. We at EPEA, we're the name of EPEA is the Institute for Applied Economic Research. That's what our name is, and that pretty much says what we do. I think there's many false divisions in economics, and one of these false divisions is between applied and theoretical. And we need more interaction between the two sides. And I think we need more interaction, for example, between EPEA and FGV in game theory. Why do I say this? At EPEA, we have, for example, Danilo Coelho, who has been using things that were developed for voting rules in very practical, down-to-earth applications in institutions such as our prosecutor's office, Supreme Court, whose members are selected by the rule of K names. And so this is an example of how a very theoretical application becomes a very practical application. We have Alexandre Marinho, I don't see him here, I don't know if he's here, who has been working on better ways to do matching between organ donors and organ recipients for organ transplants. And once again, this is a very practical application of theoretical research. So I don't want to take up your time because I'm sure there's much more interesting people for you to listen to than me, but I think I would just like to leave this appeal that we need greater interaction between theoretical economics and applied economics in all areas, but in particular in game theory. So that's it, and thank you very much, and welcome all of you.
Thank you, Sergei. And now a few words of our chairman of our school, Escola Brasileira de Brasileira de Finanças, Economia.
Thank you, Humberto. Good morning to all of you. I want to start thanking those who took the charge of organizing this workshop, which is something very difficult to do. That starts with Humberto and Aloysio, and we also had the sponsorship of EPGE. This is a workshop which actually is a satellite of the International Workshop on Game Theory and Economic Applications of the Game Theory Society. And I would also like to thank besides EPGE, the EPRG, the Economics and Politics Research Group. I am very happy to notice that our school is somehow fulfilling its role, which is having people from all over the world come over here to interact with our faculty, with our students, and with our distinguished guests of several different places in Rio and in Brazil. In the last 2 weeks, I had here in this table discussions which I hope have been very fruitful to our students and to our faculty. We had José Manuel Duran Barroso telling us 2 weeks ago here in this table about the situation in the Ukraine. We had João Manuel Barroso telling us about why so many people were so wrong for such an amount of time regarding the euro, and now I'm talking about 2011, 12, and 13. And he said that when he was in a tour in the European banks and in North America as well, that almost the majority people would predict that the euro would collapse in 2 or 3 months or 2 or 3 weeks, and that was during 2011, 12, and 13. And he also told us, and I hope our students have taken advantage of that, his role in climate change. He has been very active and told us the details about the 40% reduction of gases and 27% of renewable energy, which are the targets for Europe in the years to come. And last, I think 3 or 4 days ago, we had for the second time our friend, I can say he's already a friend of our school because he has been here twice with us, Eric Maskin, was also teaching us about why using majority rules should be superior to using some other rules, which would more easily allow to having the voter voting strategically. So I think you all know his ideas. And he was also suggesting regarding Brazil that could be a good idea. After that, some people were speculating about how that would apply to the Brazilian voting system. So somehow the discussion about a very important thing, which is politics, which it's complementary to the discussion about institutions, has permeated the school. And this is my role as the dean of the school, is having people come over here, taking care that things work properly. So I hope the way we have organized this workshop, our guests who came from so far away with such hectic agendas have a good time, not only here but in Rio by night, going to nice places that we have over here. This is the role which I have to fulfill, and I'm happy to see that these things are working very, very well and very properly. I have some words to say about the great and spectacular contribution of Marilda Sotomayor, but I reserve that for the other session in noon.